Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I don't have a topic. I'm just going to call this Talking from My Heart, No Notes. And today I don't have any notes. And I'm just going to talk to you exactly as I said, just from the heart. So for this one, let's imagine that we're sitting around the campfire, sitting around having a cup of coffee. And you say, let's say you came to our church, Spirit of Prophecy Church. Stan, what do you see coming? So that's what I'm going to do. From 40 years studying Bible prophecy and all the information I have, I'm going to tell you what I see coming. I just did an interview on another program last night. It lasted an hour. And the last 30 minutes, he asked me to kind of do this, and I'm going to kind of do the same thing. Right now, the big thing is drones. So let's talk briefly about the drones. Okay, so in summary, the drones are 6 to 10 foot across, they say the size of a table. They're flying around 300 feet, which is very low towards the ground, and they're flying in a sweeping pattern as if you were mowing your lawn. In other words, not missing a place. And they have red and green lights. Now, in that they have red and green lights, to me, that says that it's not a foreign power, it's not an enemy, because they wouldn't go to the trouble to try to keep American laws by having a red and green light. And then the government comes out and they say, oh, well, there's nothing nefarious and nothing bad about them, but we can't tell you what's going on. All right, so all of that says to me that these are sniffing drones. Now, there are a couple of cover stories. Let me erase those for you. One of the cover stories is that there was a nuclear bomb smuggled here from Ukraine. Well, first of all, I don't think Ukraine has any nuclear bombs, but I think it's a cover story. I think it's a patsy. Just like the devil always comes up with someone else where he can say he did it when there's really four fingers pointed back at him. So I think that the other cover story about how that there was a container arrived that was all damaged and it had the nuclear radiation material in it, they're going to build a dirty bomb. I think both those are cover stories. As you recall, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago, I prayed and I said, Lord, what is the next 9/11? And that night he showed me that there's going to be a series of sophisticated bombs all across America. And regardless of who actually plants them and who they say is behind it, the people will be behind it will be international bankers or the Moloch and Baal worshippers or the people that have ruled us since probably before the pyramids and the pharaohs, okay? I think that these drones are searching for suitcase nukes. Now, when I say suitcase nukes, let's assume that you're not a regular listener. So what am I talking about? In 1998, we had Stanislav Lunev, the highest ranking military officer to ever to defect. These glasses are bothering me. I'm going to switch glasses. To defect to America. And if you want to, you can watch his talk. It's called Russian Defector Warns America. Russian Defector Warns America at watchprophecyclub.com. It's free. You can go watch it right now. Now, in this talk, he said he was part of a team of Russians sent here to America to hide some 50 suitcase nukes all across America. So back in the 60s and 70s, the Russians made, they said, 250 of these 1 kiloton suitcase nuclear bombs, and 100 of them went lost in Russia. They lost them. They didn't lose them. The Molochs got them. And some 50 of them arrived here. Now, other dreams and visions, and of course the Bible says in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let a thing be established. So when I have 38 different people that have had dreams and visions and angel visits, including Michael Boldea, where Dimitri came to him and showed him the suitcase nukes going off all across America, and it looked like firecrackers, from the very height he was high. It wasn't firecrackers. I talked to Michael. He said, yeah, he thought it was suitcase nukes. And he says, these are people that are as coiled serpents, waiting for the day that they will be released to do their damage to America. So 38, when you got 38 dreams and visions, so did somebody cook up 38 different people to all give them the same dream and vision, or is that God? That's God. Some of the prophecies say as much as 35. The least any of the prophecies say is 10. So we probably have at least 10. Then you have Jason Meeks. He had the dream that has 4 things to it. And his dream, in so many ways, was confirmed by the others too. So it's not just off the cuff dream. It said 4 things. It said, 1, he said he pulled up to an ATM to get money out, got $20 out, cost him $1. But before he drove off, he realized he needed more money, put his card back in, and now the fee had jumped from $1 to $42. So the first thing is we see a financial change. That is very close. That could start happening any day. Second thing is he saw massive arrests as Donald Trump was being placed in power. Now, the interesting thing, there's not a one of them that saw him being inaugurated. They all saw him just taking power, assuming control, I think is the way the word went. So that tells me that it might not be January 20th. It might be sometime before January 20th. And then the fourth thing is he says he saw a suitcase nuke go off. So that's a financial change. That's the same thing. Same reason that JFK was killed, because he was going to bring a financial change, a new silver note out. Secondly, that's what was the second thing? It's a problem with doing things off the top of your head. Second thing was Trump gaining power, and then the suitcase nukes going off. And what was the other thing? I just said it. Well, good grief, I drew a blank. So I'm 71, so I'm getting older. It doesn't come as fast as it used to. Anyway, so apparently these nukes have been secreted in. Now, what is a nuke? Well, the smallest of the nukes that we launched on Japan was, according to reports, and I get different reports on the size of them, but it was supposed to be 4 kilotons. The other was supposed to be 12 kilotons. Okay, so these are supposed to be 1 kiloton. 1 kiloton takes out about 10 city blocks, vaporizes concrete, steel, everything. And then, of course, there's the fallout. And that's what Coverstone and the other guys saw. It was like a dirty snow just covering everything. And that's what happens. Now, why does this confirm? Is because here, I think it was the 12th of December, on the government website, where the government is saying we want to buy something, they put out that they want to buy potassium iodide pills, or iodide pills. What are those? Well, that floods your thyroid with good iodine, so it keeps the radioactive iodine out, because if you get the radioactive iodine, it doesn't take much to get it, then it kills your thyroid, killing you, and it's a simple fix. $20. Go to prophecyclub.com. You can order those potassium iodide pills. Iodide, either one does it. One is a little easier to store. That's the only difference. Anyway, and they say they want to have like 241,000 of these blister pack iodide pills, want to have them by December 21. Now, I'm recording this as December 20th right now. So they want to have them in their possession by the time you look at this. They have already ordered like 250,000 of these bubble packs. What's the government doing ordering these iodide pills if this is just rubbish? It's not just rubbish. I think that what has happened, the thing that's setting these Geiger counters off, and they have been set off now in New Jersey, New York, and one in Albany, California. Now, Albany, California doesn't have any drones up that I've been able to find yet, but they probably don't understand what's going on yet. But they have reported an increase in Geiger counter readings in the area. So what's caused it? I think that what they're doing is they're pulling out these suitcase nukes that Stanislav Lunev and his team said that they hid way back in the 1980s, okay? They're pulling them out. That means they're probably pulling them out of their lead boxes, the lead containers. And when they do, that releases radiation, and it sets off the Geiger counters. And that, my friend, is the real reason we see so many drones up. Oh, another thing. The reason the drones have to do this at night is because the sun's rays reduces the radiation during the day. So it's harder to find them during the day. So that's the reason the drones are searching at night. They're doing these search patterns, just like mowing the lawn. Do a search pattern because they're searching. Now they aren't going to tell you, and that's the reason the government's not telling you. Oh, well, they're not dangerous. We don't know who's doing it, okay, because they don't want to say we're searching for suitcase nukes. But this is one of the voices that will tell you. We've been telling you since 1998. So they're searching for suitcase nukes. Are they going to find them? Well, they may find one or two, but they're not going to find all because God has ordained and allowed Lucifer to do this. I do not think that this is the judgment. Now, let me explain. August 8, 2015, Saturday night, I said, Lord, I don't have anything to say for the sermon tomorrow morning. What do you want to say? And I heard words. I promise, I heard words. And they said, this is the time of miracles. As the judgment hits, so are my miracles. Miracles like no one has seen, going all the way back to Adam and Eve. You tell them, I will never leave them nor forsake them, and I'm going to meet the devil inch for inch, step for step, pound for pound, everything he does, I'm going to meet him. So, I do not think the suitcase nukes is the hand of God. I think it is the permissible. They have permission to use these suitcase nukes, which is why, was it 3-4 weeks ago now, I was waking up out of my nap and I heard two words, and it was loud like a trumpet. And it said, medical, medical. And Leslie waking up beside me, did you hear that? No, I didn't hear anything. Because it wasn't with these ears, it was these ears that heard it. So I would recommend you go to refugemedical.com. We've arranged to get a 5% discount for you if you use the promo code prophecy. I'd recommend at a very minimum, you get the burn bucket, because I think America's about to have thousands, maybe even millions of people with burns. Because when a nuclear bomb goes off, we typically think radiation, and that is a bad thing. But mostly we should be thinking about fire. What a nuclear bomb is more than anything is it's fire. Yes, it's fire, it's explosion, and it's also radiation. But the biggest thing is fire. For she saith in her heart, I said a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall God judge her, and will burn her with fire. Several places in Revelation it says, I will burn her with fire. So nuclear is really about fire. Now, and I'd recommend you get a burn bucket. I'd recommend you get some medical things so that, and you may be thinking, yeah, well, I mean, like me, I don't know anything about medical. Somebody knocking my door, I got a big burn. I don't know what to do. I do the best I can. I got a burn bucket now. I got a few medical supplies to do the best I can. But here's the question. What if that person come to your front door as a family member, a brother, a sister? Maybe it's a brother or sister in the Lord. But the chances that you're going to have someone knocking on your door very soon. I mean, if the government is wanting to have their potassium iodide pills by December 21st of 2024, I showed you the article here a couple of days ago. If they're buying them, we need to be buying them too. And by the way, you can get those at prophecyclub.com. Potassium iodide pills, prophecyclub.com. Now, so this thing goes off, and we're going to have a terrible thing happen. But let's look beyond that. Let me make it clear. I do not know when the suitcase nukes are going to go off. I'm pretty confident that they're going to go off. I'll say it again. I do not know when. But based upon the prophecies, if you were to say, well, Stan, what's your best guess? I'd say, okay, well, you asked me my guess. I'll tell you this is my best guess, but it's a guess. My guess is we'll probably see the suitcase nukes within 6 months of Trump taking charge, whenever that is, and that might not be January 20th. It might be before then. I don't know. But again, he said, let me remember, it was a massive arrest. So the first one was a change in finances, then Trump taking charge, massive arrests, and then a suitcase nuke going off. There you go. I remember the other one. Massive arrests. Now, again, I heard those 4 words 2 years ago. Again, waking up from a nap, it was the same thing. It was loud as a trumpet, and I heard massive arrests, massive arrests. So I feel like I have it, thus saith the Lord, the massive arrests are coming. And no, we didn't even have any problems when I got this. Immigration was there was no talk of any deportation in those days. So I don't think the massive arrest is talking about the illegal immigrants. Those arrests are coming, but I'm thinking it's talking about people, maybe I shouldn't mention names, but some high people in government. I'll say it that way, government and in banking. Remember, we've had prophecies that told us that. Okay, so on with the story. Now, all of that is minor compared to the next thing. What? You mean something could be worse than 10, 15, 20 suitcase nukes going off? Yeah, and that is a new Madrid earthquake. Now, I've showed you before, we've got probably there's 30 different pictures that people have drawn of what they've seen in dreams, visions, and angel visits. But I've got 12 different people that were told the same thing, dreams, visions, and angel visits, that if America splits Israel, God will split America. And both Trump and Biden have been all for a Palestinian state, giving the Palestinians a state. Well, Joel 3:2 says that they will part my land. And these 12 prophecies say that if America splits Israel, God will split America. And that prophets, that the people have seen, the least they've seen was seen by Leslie, where the Great Lakes open up down to Tupelo, Mississippi. That would be a split, but not a total split. If we didn't totally split, then we could still move trucks between the east and west parts of America. But most of the prophecies saw Great Lakes open up all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. In other words, they saw America totally split open, one of them by several hundred miles. In other words, broader than you could build a bridge, a normal bridge. Big split. That is going to be just about total devastation. And in the middle of that, there's going to be an internal revolution. As I've talked about, I used to not understand whether the internal revolution was the good guys in, the bad guys overcoming them, or the bad guys in and the good guys overcoming them. But now, since Donald Trump is getting in, I think it's the good guys in and the bad guys rise up and overcome them. Now, when that happens, Stan, you want to give a guess on that? Well, let me say again, I do not know when, but since you've asked me for my best guess, I'll give you my best guess. I think that there's a high probability that the three people, Terry Bennett and also You Be Ready, Byron Searle, and another one, all said on or about that the tribulation began October the 5th, Day of Atonement, 2022. And that's reasonable since February 22nd of 2022 was when Russia invaded Ukraine, and that's going to be Armageddon. The Russians will never stop attacking. That war will continue all the way right up to Armageddon when the Russians and their Islamic buddies come down to attack Israel because their oil wells have gone dry and Israel has been given massive amounts of oil, and they come down for a spoil, Ezekiel 38, 8, 9, 11 in there. They come down for a spoil. So back to my point. I think that we're probably talking about, I said probably talking about the tribulation. I didn't say the tribulation started October the 5th of 2022. I do not know that. God has not told me that. I want to make clear about that. So many times people want to put things in a person's mouth. I didn't say that. Now, in my heart, I personally am watching very close to see if that's the day. I don't think we have too long to see if that is the day. Here, I wrote up the days. Okay, let's see. Where to write it here? Okay, if the tribulation started October the 5th of 2022, I said if, then Jesus should return. Well, now I need to clarify my notes here. Either September 9th of 2029 or August 29th of 29. Anyway, sometime in 2029. Now, in the middle of that, and I thought this other date was in the middle when we should see the Antichrist set on the Ark of the Covenant. Now, we see the Antichrist set on the Ark of the Covenant proclaiming himself God, then I'm going to say, yeah, that's when the tribulation started. I don't know. But back to my question. When do you think the internal revolution is going to start? I think that there's very likely to start towards the 27, 28. I hope we have that long. We might not have that long, but I think that once Trump is in power and he starts cleaning it up and there's massive arrests, again, the devil's not going to go quietly in the night. And we're going to see some of the people start fighting against the government. We start arresting their people, and it won't be long till they start arresting and killing and torturing us. And that's the reason. And I saw this at the fifth seal, a sign of the altar, the souls of those who were slain for the word of God, of the testimony which they held, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell upon the earth? And white robes are given to every one of them. The white robes are probably the wedding garments, because this is probably taking place about 4 months before Jesus returns, on the last Pentecost of the 7 years. That's when we go to the marriage supper of the Lamb. White robes are given to every one of them, and said to them that they should rest yet for a little season till their fellow servants and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. That's us. In other words, there's before, well, I guess you'd call it, again, it's not a rapture. Rapture is taking us out so we don't have any trouble. It is a time where we go to the marriage supper of the Lamb. It's about 4 months before Jesus returns. And only those people that are ready. And that's the reason some of the people that are not ready, they don't get to go. And of course, a lot of people want to say, well, if you accept Jesus, you're the bride of Christ. No, that's a misunderstanding. Look, if you don't go to the marriage, if you don't go to the marriage supper, you can't be the bride. Okay, you got to be there. I mean, can you imagine a groom standing up there and saying, I do, and the wife is not there? Okay, so you got to have the wife there. I think we're probably talking about 27, 28. I hope we have that long before the internal revolution starts. But I think that once Trump gets in and starts doing some good things, we're going to start seeing some of the people start fighting against the government. The government is going to be busy with internal problems. I think it's going to be the illegal aliens rebelling. They're going to be stirring up trouble. It's going to be the people that are here. I mean, just like now, the Teamsters that are supposed to be protesting at Amazon, they don't even work at Amazon. So the Teamsters hire people to go out and walk around with a picket fence. What is that? Okay. There's just such evil in our nation. Like I said the other night, so assuming that is correct, that Trump got 77 million votes and that Harris got 71 million, that still doesn't mean that there's more Christians than non-Christians in America. In other words, we're still more dirty. And if you assume that, on the positive scale, that 2/3 of the people that voted for Trump are Christians, and of course Harold Pittman said he was shown in heaven, that only 2.5% of the people that call themselves Christians are actually Christians, that actually make it into heaven, into eternity. So, but assuming that 2/3 of the 77 million are Christians, that still means that way more than 50% of the people in America are not Christians. For she saith in her heart, I said, Queen, and no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall the plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and famine. And she shall be utterly burned with fire, that's nuclear, burned with fire, for God is judged her. What else? I think that we are probably looking at seeing that New Madrid earthquake. Again, I'm guessing. You asked me to guess. We do know that one of the headlines is going to be Omer ushers in Palestinian state. I looked it up. The counting of the Omer in 2025 is from April 13th to June 1st. So it's a high probability that Trump gets in, the suitcase nukes go off. It's not the end of the world, but it sure seems like it for a lot of people. So Trump jumps in and says, I'll save the day. And I think that what he's doing is splitting Israel. And then shortly after that, probably within a day or so, but almost for sure within a week or so, at the longest, within the month or so of that time, we'll see a New Madrid earthquake, and the Great Lakes will open up. And I hope it's not so bad. I hope that there's only just a little spread. But most of the prophecies say it goes all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, or Gulf of Mexico, and splits America. And that would kill millions and millions of people. We're talking about a devastation that we can't even understand. And at that point, we're only into, well, by the end of next year. Again, I'm guessing, but you asked me to guess, so this is my guess. So what's coming immediately? I think that when that new Madrid earthquake hits, that's the judgment. That will be the hand of God, not the suitcase nukes. The hand of God will be the new Madrid, and then we're going to see the greatest revival in human history. Miracles like no one has ever seen will break out when the Gentile book of life has the last name filled. Then we go to the Jewish book of life. 3/4 of the people saved in the tribulation will be Jewish, and I'm out of time. As you recall, this past Saturday, November the 9th, the Lord spoke to me 2 words screaming at me loud like a trumpet. Medical, medical. I take that to mean that not only myself, but also those that follow Prophecy Club, in addition to all of the other preparations we've made, we need to start making medical preparations. And I put that out, and I was deluged with emails sending me to this place. This is the place that all of you seem to like when it comes to medical supplies. So I called them, hooked up, and I've arranged to get you a 5% discount when you use the promo code PROPHECY. Promo code PROPHECY, 5% discount, and it's refugemedical.com. refugemedical.com. And as you can see, they have all kinds of, here's one of the main things you need to get. It's called a burn bucket. This tells you all about it. They also have a business bundle, a home bundle. I think everybody ought to have at least a home bundle. They also have vehicle bundles, church bundles. So they already put this stuff together, and this is not foreign-made stuff. This is all American-made, and it's by a Christian company. And you go to refugemedical.com. refugemedical.com. If you don't want to lose your life's savings, if you have an IRA or a 401k, the thing to do is call 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. These folks are Christians, and they specialize in helping people not lose their life savings in the event of a stock market crash and things like that. Look, most of the 401ks, most of the IRAs are in paper, backed by paper, and as Lindsey Williams says, if it's in paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. You can lose it all. 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Hey, give them a call. Doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything. See if they can give you some good advice.